Welcome on in. You're watching the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for making today's show a part of your day. Hope you're all having a great week as I record this show on Thursday, July 3rd, and of course, I hope you're all getting ready to have an awesome, fun-filled 4th of July weekend. Coming up here on the show, Niners rookies report to Santa Clara for the start of training camp on July 15th. Veterans then report on July 22nd. So training camp for San Francisco is quickly approaching. They have some holes on this roster. So we're going to take a look at the top free agents still left and which players could make sense for the Niners. As a reminder, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for daily and year-round coverage of the Niners. If you want to stay in the know with all things Niners, hit that subscribe button today. So ESPN has this list of the best remaining available unsigned players in NFL free agency. Some of these players I think would fit well and make sense for San Francisco. Other players I think that they could bypass here. And the top free agent who ESPN has on this list is cornerback Rasul Douglas, who I actually think would make sense for the Niners. He played good ball last year with the Buffalo Bills, and after getting off to a little bit of a choppy start, after getting drafted out of West Virginia by the Philadelphia Eagles, he's turned himself into a really good player. He is 30 years old, entering 2025, and the Niners at this cornerback position, they're a little bit thin. I like their starting three, if it stands as such, right? Deommodore Lenoir, Renardo Grant on the outside, with rookie Upton Stout in the slot. But what if Stout struggles? Lenoir moves inside. Who's your outside corner opposite of Renardo Green? Trey Brown, who's a former fourth-round pick out of Oklahoma by the Seattle Seahawks, who has really just been a mediocre player. What if an injury happens at that position? Then you start to have some concerns with how you stop teams in the pass game, especially with a young defensive line. Now, if you can generate pressure on the quarterback, it makes your back-end job easier. But with a young defensive line, there are no promises that that is going to be the case. And with a thin secondary, that's why I have concerns at that position. Rasul Douglas is a physical corner. He has length to disrupt the football. He has this willingness to set the edge against the run. He had 5 TFLs last year, no fear in sticking his hat in there, being active, good tackler. And what's been an emphasis for San Francisco this offseason? Stopping the run. He's also a good fit in a zone system. The Niners, since Kyle Shanahan came to San Francisco in 2017, have run a zone defense, zone coverage, the number 1 rate in the NFL. So Rasul Douglas would make some sense there. Free agent number 2 is Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper at this point, I think, is a borderline Hall of Famer. Now, he might not have the longevity to his career. He is 31 years old, just turned 31, June 17th. But the consistent production that he had in his career, so impressive. First 2 years with the Oakland Raiders, he's over 1,000 yards. His third year between Oakland and Dallas, he's over 1,000 yards. For the entire 2018 season, 1,000 yards again in 2019-2020. So to start his career, he's a machine going over 1,000 yards. In 2021, he was at 865. Then he goes to Cleveland. He's over 1,100, 1,200 in 2022, 2023. So at this point, he has more than 10,000 receiving yards, 64 touchdowns. He started 143 games. He's been targeted 1,100 times and has 711 catches. He's been a 5-time Pro Bowler, most recently in 2023, but last year he did struggle a little bit, 547 yards, but he split his time between Cleveland, had no quarterback, and Buffalo, trying to get acclimated with that system late in the year. The tape is beginning to show some signs of decline, but Cooper is still a detailed route runner, and he can get open at multiple levels of the field. You're not asking for him to be a number 1. You would be bringing him, Amari Cooper, for wide receiver insurance because Brandon Ayuk is coming off that knee injury in which he tore 3 ligaments. Ricky Pearsall has another hamstring injury. He's unproven. Then after that, you have Jawan Jennings, Demarcus Robinson, Jacob Cowing, who's an unknown commodity, and Jordan Watkins, who you took in the 4th round. I think that wide receiver, whether it be Amari Cooper, whether it be Keenan Allen, who's a different player, accomplished player, a taller player, slower player, a wide receiver could make sense for the Niners. So too could Asante Samuel Jr. Playmaking mentality at that cornerback spot, foot quickness, sudden closing speed to really break on the ball. He had a shoulder injury last year, only played 4 games, but he has 6 picks and 26 pass breakups in his 4 years with the Chargers. And most of those numbers came in his first 3 years. So NFL bloodlines, his dad was an awesome corner for a very long time, one of the top big game clutch corners who made huge plays throughout his career with the Patriots and the Eagles that we've seen over the course of NFL history. And if the neck surgery that he got earlier this offseason checks out, he's going to have a checkup here in July. That's a move that I would love for San Francisco. In fact, Asante Samuel Jr., my number 1 overall free agent target right now for San Francisco. Mike Hilton is another corner who's available. He played with the Bengals last year. While Samuel's younger, Hilton's older, 31 years old. He's a slot corner. He does play with a lot of urgency. He had 12 TFLs and 8 pressures last year. So this is a player who Robert Saleh can get very creative with, has a good feel for playing in space as a coverage defender, very aggressive as a tackler. In 8 years, he has 13 picks, 11.5 sacks, and 34 PBUs. That's a veteran who can really help you, but he's limited and doesn't have positional versatility. Douglas and Hilton are inside guys. Asante Samuel Jr. is an outside guy, and if you sign Samuel, that allows you to play Demo in the slot if Upton Stout is not ready. I mentioned Keenan Allen a little bit earlier. I think he's trending toward being cooked. He's had a lot of injuries. He's bigger. He's never had speed, so now he's kind of slow. He's going to be entering his age 33 season. He did catch 70 passes last year for the Bears with 7 touchdowns. Not dynamic at this stage of his career, but he's always been a very crafty and savvy route runner, and he's a chain-moving wide receiver who can come down with a lot of 50-50 balls. Brandon Scherff is a guard who's a former first-round pick, a multi-time Pro Bowler who's still out there if the Niners want to address the offensive line. Left guard is interesting. Who starts there? Ben Bartch, Spencer Burford, Connor Colby? We're not really sure. If those players struggle, the Niners aren't paying those players anything. Could they bring in a guy like Scherff, who at this point is going to be serviceable? He was a top 5 pick in 2015, had a pass block win rate of 93.8% last year. That ranked 14th among guards. He was the second highest. That was the second highest number, of his 10 NFL seasons. He can help a team in need of a quality starter along the interior. Za'Darius Smith and Jadeveon Clowney are both defensive ends who I think would be scheme fits for San Francisco. Of note for Za'Darius Smith, he's played in a 3-4, he's played in the wide 9. Last year with the Browns and the Lions, he had 9 sacks, 38 pressures. He is a speed-to-power rusher who can line up across the line of scrimmage. And if you want some scheme versatility and a rotational edge, Smith could make a lot of sense. He played well in that wide 9 under Jim Schwartz with Cleveland. Jadeveon Clowney had 5.5 sacks last year after posting a career-high 9.5 sacks the previous season with Baltimore. He's more of that straight line speed and power guy. He had 35 pressures a year ago, so he can still get after the quarterback. And he's good on stunts and loops. Niners like to do that. Really, all teams like to do that. Going into his 12th year as a pro. So as a pass rusher in certain obvious passing situations, I think that Clowney can help you. Matthew Judon is another edge who's out there. He had 15.5 sacks in 2022, but he is definitely starting to decline. He only had 5.5 sacks last year. That Falcons defense was last in pressure rate, last in sacks in the NFL. And while he's lost a step, he is savvy. Jedrick Wills is an offensive tackle who was a former first-round pick by the Cleveland Browns out of Alabama. Injuries really halted his development as a player. He's only played in 13 games over the last 2 years, But we're looking at a guy who in 2020 was a top 10 pick, has a pass block win rate of 92%. That's above league average. And look, the Niners signed Andre Dillard as a reclamation project. Jedrick Wills might have more upside as a reclamation project, but the injuries are a problem. I really like Justin Simmons and Julian Blackmon. Justin Simmons is a multi-time second-team All-Pro, really good communicator in the secondary, very good ball hawk. He has 32 interceptions in his career since entering the league in 2016 out of Boston College. In a split safety defense, he would be a really good addition. He's entering his age 31 season. Julian Blackmon is younger, and he played under Gus Bradley. He had 3 picks last year. He has 7 over the past 2 years. And he has a lot of range as a safety. And he can really fit in any type of scheme. He also has 85 plus tackles in each of the past 2 years. I'm surprised he's still out there given his age. At the linebacker position, who starts alongside Fred Warner? D. Winters? Nick Martin? We'll see. If the Niners want a vet, Kaiser White is entering his age 29 season. He has 100 plus tackles in 3 of the last 4 years. He's an off-ball linebacker with run and hit traits, 9 TFLs and 2.5 sacks last year. Definitely has the pursuit to play outside linebacker if you need him to. Has 6 interceptions, 16 pass breakups in his career. And he can be a 3-down player for this Niners team. Earlier this week, I talked about Agbo Okoronkwo, a former 5th-round pick, who, when he pins his ears back, he can really get after the quarterback. And he played very well for the Houston Texans a few years ago, has good bend, lower body flexibility. He does only have 7.5 sacks the last 2 years with the Browns. At 6'2", 250, being twitchy like he is, you would expect more production. But this is a player who I think Chris Kocurek could bring the best out of. Also plays in that wide 9, or at least has. Von Miller is an edge rusher who's still out there, future Hall of Famer. You still see some pop and flashes with his ability to win one-on-ones at the edge because he has so many different moves and pass rush plans. His lower body quickness starting to fade a little bit. He's not going to be able to play at full throttle, but man, 129.5 sacks over his career. He did have 6 in 2024. Buffalo did release him, but as a situational pass rusher, he's a good player. And then another safety out there is Marcus Williams, entering his age 28 season. He was on this path of being a really, really good player, but injuries definitely hurt him while he was in Baltimore. He's missed at least 6 games in each of the past 3 years, but has range at that 3rd level. I would like Simmons and Blackmon more, but maybe for cheaper, you could bring in a Marcus Williams. So those are the top free agents left who San Francisco could sign as training camp quickly approaches. Which free agent do you think makes sense for the Niners? Let me know down in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.